There, today we are going to be talking about changes in quantity demanded versus changes in demand. When do we say quantity demanded? When do we say demand? And similarly, changes in quantity supplied versus changes in supply. Alright, this is so important because about 70% of all economic students will make this mistake once in their lifetime. So today I'm going to clarify all these for you so that hopefully you will not belong to the 70% but the 30%. Now, the first thing we need to know is what really does the demand curve represent. It shows the inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. So you see quantity demanded here, price and quantity demanded. So that if there is a change in price, it will lead to a change in the quantity demanded. So for example, if the price were to increase from P1 to P2, the quantity demanded will fall from Q1 to Q2. Alright, because it is an inverse relationship. So increase in price, fall in the quantity demanded, fall in price, the green arrow, increase in quantity demanded. So notice I've been using the words quantity demanded, and that is what essentially is reflected on the demand curve, is illustrated by the demand curve. Okay, so quantity demanded is related to points on the demand curve. Quantity demanded is related to points on the demand curve. So at P2, quantity demanded is Q2. At P1, quantity demanded is Q1. And when there is a change in price, it will lead to a change in quantity demanded. Shifts along the curve are changes in quantity demanded. Shifts along the curve. Can you see that? Shifts along the curve are changes in quantity demanded. Alright? So this is what quantity demanded is all about. This is when we make use of the term quantity demanded, when we are looking at points on the demand curve, and when there is a change in the price, because that will lead to changes in quantity demanded. As opposed to changes in demand. Changes in demand, we are looking at shifts of the entire curve. So for example, over here, there is a fall in demand. The demand curve shifted leftwards from D2 to D1. That's a fall in demand. Over here, you have an increase in demand. The demand curve shifted rightwards from D1 to D2. So when we say change in demand, it is referring to the shift of the entire demand curve. And this happens when there's a change in non-price factors. Okay, and incidentally, I use this acronym PET-PICS for the non-price factors. Example, taste and preferences. That's what the T represents. So if there is a change in the taste and preferences for this particular good, it would lead to changes in demand. Alright, so that's an example of non-price factors. Okay, so when we say changes in demand, it means the entire demand curve is shifting, and it is due to changes in non-price factors. Do take note, I've mentioned this already, but it's a good reminder. Quantity demanded refers to points. So at P1, quantity demanded is Q1, right? So if there's another price here, P2, then the point here, quantity demanded, is Q2. Quantity demanded refers to points, whereas demand refers to the entire curve. Got that? In summary, quantity demanded refers to points on the demand curve. Demand refers to the entire demand curve. So if we say change in demand, the entire demand curve is shifting. Change in demand, entire demand curve is shifting. Whereas if we say change in quantity demanded, it is a shift along the curve. Change in quantity demanded happens when price changes. So price changes leads to change in quantity demanded, whereas changes in non-price factors, that is what will cause changes in the demand, entire demand curve shifting. Okay, so point, entire curve, right? Shift along the curve, shift of the entire curve. Price change, non-price change, or change in non-price factors. Got that? So with all that, let me ask you a question. What if there is a change in the price of a related good? Does it change quantity demanded or does it change demand? Okay, now this is quite a tricky question, and this is a question that we will answer in class. Alright, and let's hear from you. Now that you know the difference between change in quantity demanded versus change in demand, you can do this yourself. Okay, so let's see you do it as well in class. And that's all I have for you. By now, you should belong to the 30%. See you in class. Ciao.